And just to tell you a little bit about me, in case you don't know me, I see some new faces. As Anna Maria said, my name is Romy. I'm originally from New York City, but currently based in Germany, although right now I find myself in a very interesting place in Spain, which I may show you a little bit what's behind this curtain in a moment. I am a learning experience designer and certified experiential learning trainer. Basically anything that has to do with experiential learning and making learning more interesting, engaging, interactive, and brain-based learning. I'm a huge geek around all those things. I started an initiative called the Call to Connection last year in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, because I was convinced that you could not make workshops interesting, experiential, and connecting, especially around topics like emotional intelligence online. And what I found over the past year and a half is that you can do so many incredible things. And I'm very excited to share with them some of these things with you here today. I will stop sharing because I want to see your faces and want to ask you, woo, love the sounds. Thanks, Maria. I want to ask you all, could you please either come really close to the camera if before the pandemic you were like, I loved online learning, it was just like nourishing my soul, or go really far back if you're like, oh, I was trying to move away from that. Or even you can go off camera if you're like, I did not want to even have anything to do with online learning before the pandemic. So where are you? Before the pandemic, super into it, not at all, didn't want to have anything to do with it, off the screen. Okay, I see some mixes. You can find a middle ground for yourself. I was definitely in this off the camera space. I was the ultimate naysayer, would turn down any opportunity for online learning because I was convinced it could not be experiential. But as I said, I found out there's a lot we can do, and I'm very, very excited about it. So I want to ask you now, that was maybe before the pandemic, what about right now? Where are you feeling about online learning and virtual connection? Can we really connect in the online space? Really get close if you feel, yes, we can, or not so much, or I'm not sure, or heck no, there's no way this can happen. Okay, I love the different faces. Thank you so much for sharing that. Good to see where we are and just check in. Awesome. Let me get this back here. So one thing I would love to do is just take a moment to arrive. As Anna Maria said, some of you may have just hopped off a call. It may be morning, it may be evening, I don't know. But could you please all in a moment unmute yourself and say hello in your own native language, because I already see people from many different countries. So in whatever way you want to say in a native language or your own personal, twist on how you say hello. 3, 2, 1, unmute, and let's hear those voices.
Hello.
I love it. We're like spamming butter with all these voices. Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So let's take a little moment to arrive. I want to ask you to chat, as you will see. About Butter, if it is your very first time, which is amazing. So on your left-hand side, you'll see a chat button. And if you click that in the very bottom of the GIF, and I want you to find a GIF and put in the chat, how are you feeling in entering this meeting right now? Any GIF that represents how are you feeling entering this meeting? So find it and share it. Let's see, how are we all feeling entering this meeting? Ooh, I see some different, oh, look at these gifts, are amazing. Maybe some of us are super pumped. Maybe some of us are a little skeptical. What is this? Can we actually do connection in the online space? Oh man, these are amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, I would love to ask you, as I said, some of you may have just hopped off a meeting. Maybe you're trying to transition, trying to mentally prepare yourself. I see some exhausted, tired in these gifts. So let's just take a really quick moment. I want to ask you to get in touch for a moment with yourself. Take some 3 deep breaths and like mentally, sometimes we're physically here, but not mentally here. We're still in the last meeting that we had. So I would love to invite you to take 3 deep breaths. Really fill up those lungs. If you feel like closing your eyes, whatever feels good, just take a little moment to arrive mentally and physically here in this space. Maybe one more collective breath. And blow out that warm energy and connecting energy to all these people here in the room. Thank you so much for taking that little moment. You can feel free to either put in the chat or do another GIF how you feel now after 3 deep breaths. It's something so small, but taking that moment to mentally and physically arrive can sometimes make a big difference. Okay, thank you. Love what I'm seeing. Nice one, Anne-Marie. Yes. Okay, let's get it started. So let me just share for a little bit a few rules and tools of engagement that we have here. I want to make sure, I know some people are new to Butter, some people may be experts in Butter, and we want to make sure everybody feels comfortable about, we're going to start from the beginning every time I see, don't worry. So a few rules of engagement. Things to know, there's a chat as you just saw. Feel free to chat it up. You can put GIFs, you can put images, you can put text, anything. Butter has amazing chat features. Feel free to put all questions, thoughts, comments. That's what makes this community come alive. Also, please feel free to jump in throughout this session. This is not the Romy show. I would love to hear from all of you. So we'll share in a bit how you can actually join the queue and raise your hand and share out loud. You can interrupt me at any time. There's not going to be a Q&A afterwards, anything like this. Cameos are cool. We are all showing up in this new normal with whatever is in our background. So if that's your kids or your spouse or roommates or pets, whatever it is, please know they are all welcome to join us. No need to turn your video off if you're embarrassed. You have all these little kitties running around. They're also welcome to join us. Self-care is super important. We're going to take an hour and a half to really connect with each other. But I also want you to connect with yourself. So if you feel like, I've been on too many calls all day, I need to stretch, maybe take this moment right now to, give yourself a nice stretch. That is part of self-care, moving our bodies. So never feel afraid to, get up, move, stretch, get a drink, anything you need. Tech flex mindset. I can tell you right now, I hope you can hear me. I found myself in unexpected circumstances in the middle of nowhere in Spain with not the best internet, not what I had planned for today. So if there's a tech issue on my side, we are in great hands. Ana Maria is here and Cheska are here to help. But also if there's ever any tech issues on your side, please don't apologize. Don't say sorry. Let's all support each other with a little bit of empathy and compassion and fail forward together. It's inevitable. And last but not least, as we all took a little moment at the beginning, all emotions are welcome here. We'll talk more about this today, but we are humans. We show up with our full emotions. So never feel afraid if we're debriefing an activity and you tell me, I love that. That was amazing. I can't wait to do that with my team. Great. And if you also tell me, I hated that. That made me feel super uncomfortable. I would never do that with my team. It's also okay. All emotions are welcome here. So please show up as your true self. If you are new to Butter, as I said, there's a few tools here, which I see many people clicking away and getting excited about. Of course, you have your video and your mic, which I hope you keep on because we will definitely be sharing. It's a great way to foster more connection. But also there's this great reaction button. So if you click that, you'll see, I see people celebrating. I agree, loving all these things. You can feel free to share away. If you have a comment or a question or an idea, you can actually click this Q button and we'll know to call on you and for what it is. So if it's a question, I'll know, okay, make sure. Yes, you can play around with it now if you want to check it out, but it will help me know, okay, should additional comment or is it a question, etc., etc. And last but not least, one of my favorite tools of Butter is this notes section. So this is a great way to keep everything in one place. As we go through some activities today, you can actually take notes. They're private, only you see them, nobody else sees them, and you can even email them to yourself. So you're not, if you're struggling, like, I don't have pen and paper, I don't know what to do, don't worry, Butter took care of it for you. It's all in there. So it's a little bit of some onboarding. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get started. We've done enough intro and I am really excited to jump in. I don't know about you. I will just close this out. So what I would like to do today is all about connection, and I want to see your faces to really connect with you here. Thanks, Cheska, I appreciate it. So I want us just for a moment, in whatever ways feels comfortable, if you want to close your eyes if you feel comfortable, or you want to just lower your gaze or keep your eyes open, but just kind of sit back and relax. It's totally up to you. I want you to think for a moment about a time, or a team in particular, but a moment in time when you felt really connected to a team. And just like really take yourself back there for a moment and think about the group of people that were there. It can be, what was it that you felt was really helping you all connect together? Maybe you can take yourself back and hear some sounds. What were people talking about, or just the space? Maybe reconnect with those feelings that came up with you. How did that really feel to be connected with a team? And if you, for some reason, are saying, oh, I cannot remember any time I really felt truly connected with a team, that's totally okay. You can also think about a time when you felt very disconnected from a team, and what was that impact? What did that feel like? So I'll give you a little moment to really take that in, that experience, and remember. I have a few good ones in my mind. And what I'm going to ask you to do next is actually share a little bit in a breakout room. You don't have to share anything more than you're comfortable with, but we'll put you into some groups in a moment. And I'd love for you to share a bit about what came up for you as you just, that was your first initial thought of what it felt to be connected. And I have here, I will put here in the chat as well, for you to think about what came up for you in that little super, super quick visualization, as well as what do you think connection is? How do you define connection? And why is it important, right? What was that impact for you in whatever happened in that team? How did that make you feel? How did it result in your team? What outcomes came out from that? So I put that in the chat in case you don't remember these questions. Anna Maria will now put you into small breakout rooms of 3 people, and you'll get a little moment to share and chat and discuss. So please make sure each person gets a chance to share. No worries. And I appreciate you getting in, really connecting with yourself and seeing you're too tired. It happens. Thank you. Don't worry. We appreciate you being here. So Anna Maria, let us know when you're ready to beam us into breakout rooms. For the rest of us, we'll share anything that came up for you in thinking about connection to team. What does connection mean to you, and why do you think it's important? If it makes sense, can I get a thumbs up in the camera so I know that it makes sense to you what we're going to do next? Okay, I see lots of thumbs up. Anna Maria, beam us away. Awesome.
Oh. Thank you.
Welcome back. Oh my goodness. I always love to see the smiles. That's what I love. That's the connection that happens when we come back from those breakout rooms. Those feed my soul.
आलू की सब्जी थोड़ी सी with the pitta पे.
Oops, I see we're not all off mute. So just make sure if you have some background noise that we mute ourselves. Okay, thank you.
Oh, Romy, sorry. I think Cheska muted everyone, so now you're on mute as well, or someone. Yes, sorry. Oh, you're mute again.
The best words I said.
Now you're back. Hey, 2 years in and we're still, you're on mute. You're not mute. You're on mute. The fun of it all.
Don't worry. I used to make people do jumping jacks every time we're on mute. So I don't know if we should all do jumping jacks, but I won't make you. But okay, thank you all so much. I don't know what you heard, but what I said was I love and live for these smiles that happen when we come back from the breakout rooms. Those feed my soul. This is so the importance of connection. So I would love to ask any brave volunteers out there. Of course, you can always put it in the chat, but I would love to hear some voices, not just my voice here. What did you discuss in your breakout rooms about what connection means to you? Maybe some great insights that you either heard or shared in your breakout room. What does connection mean to you? You can please click the Q button and let us know that you want to share out loud. We'd love to hear some other voices here. Who would like to go for it?
So I'll go first. So in our group, we sort of answered the question in like 30 seconds to a minute. We kind of agreed on a definition, and then we kind of went through like a connecting exercise by like talking about like the types of favorite books that we like and what genres that we like. And we actually I found out that Monica loves like Roald Dahl, which was so awesome. I rarely meet anybody whose favorite author is Roald Dahl and favorite book as well. So it was just pretty amazing to actually experience the concept of connection through that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. I was a huge Roald Dahl fan growing up, so that also feeds me. I'm so excited to hear that.
Awesome.
What else? What specifically did you all share about what connection could be, or maybe I don't know if you discussed definitions, or what does it feel like? Feel free to share. You can just unmute yourself, pop off.
I think Manal answered the question for both of us, for me and Monica in the room. She articulated it so well that, I don't think, I think Monica would agree with me when I say that, she summed it up for all three of us.
Oh, well then, perfect. Fabulous. Thank you so much. Did anyone else very good question, Abby. Maybe Cheska or Ana Maria, you can help us spotlight those fabulous volunteers that we have so we can see them better and connect more with them. Thank you. Anyone else? What did you discuss when you talked about what is connection? It may be a feeling that we all know, but what actually is it? Any ideas? You can also, I see lots of things coming in here in the chat. But anyone else want to share out loud? A smile is a universal
yes.
Ahead,
so I wanted to share that it was great to discuss with Laura and Julie how connection basically gives you this passion and engagement. Is that basically if people are connected, it just gives you this group power, yes, that you have that feeling that you are in it together, and it just motivates another person, and people are ready to jump in and commit, yes, to basically a common cause. It sounds a bit socialistic, yes, but this is basically what gives you the positive power and like even a force to be engage and be in it together. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Carolina. I see Nicole has something to share. Go ahead, Nicole.
Hello. I was in a group with Meg and Abby, and it was interesting. Several of us became facilitators and wanted to be connectors because of the dysfunctionality and toxic teams that we've been a part of. So that was one of the driving forces of us doing the work that we're doing now. Meg and Ryan, they both shared about the inner ease when you do have connection, having the inner ease and being accepted and seen And I would like to add, and also bringing your authentic self to that space without apology. And so, yes, thank you.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Nicole. That was, that was connection gold. I love your definition, feeling seen, showing up as your authentic self. Thank you so much for sharing all those. And why is connection important? It may feel good, it may be fun, but why could it actually be an important thing for us to think about? Yes, Abby, you have a question. Go ahead, Abby. Or did you not have a question? You were just playing around with butter. Yes, you're unmuted, but Abby.
Oh, yeah. So thank you, Romy. When we're in this kind of gallery view, if I wasn't spotlighted right now, is there a way that we can see who's talking, like that it would light up, put yellow borders around? Because when someone else was talking, I couldn't see him among. So how do you see the speaker without spotlighting them this way?
Oh, great question. Yes, you should be able to see them with the view. Sometimes maybe if a camera is off, it's difficult, or if there's many people, but we will try moving forward to spotlight every person so you can really connect with their faces. Does that help you out? I also need to feel and see who is talking to feel that connection as well. So I'm going to ask one more time before we reveal, why do we think connection is important? Why should it matter? Why should we think about it? What kind of impact does that have on teams, and particularly remote and virtual teams? Razan, please share away.
So on the importance, we spoke a little bit about, yeah, can you hear me? On the importance of connection, we spoke about how when you're connected.
We might have lost you, Razan. Okay, in the meantime, we'll come back to Razan, but I see Julie has, there's Razan. Razan, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
I was hearing Razan. It was okay.
Perfect. Okay. Go ahead, Razan.
So we were talking about the meaning of connection and what does it do to you as an individual once you're connected with a group or someone. And it has to do something with the flow. Like when you're connected with a certain group, your ideas are easier to convey and they are kind of accepted in a certain way. You sometimes even find yourself completing each other's sentences. The flow is just right. And that's, to me, like how, why it's important, basically.
Love it, the flow. Thank you so much. I saw there was also another hand from Julie, and there's also, I love this. Please keep sharing in the chat. These are great, great insights.
Hi. So, Romy, I want to, first of all, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah,
okay, good. Now. So number one, I think it's awesome to make people connect immediately, like make or whatever this is. I'm sure it was designed this way, but we could sit and listen for another half an hour and then start connecting in the breakout rooms, and that would be maybe not as comfortable, or maybe it's a little more comfortable to do it that way, but this way it makes everyone connect sooner. And then everyone's ideas start sparking, which is why I think connection is so important. So to answer your question, it's the energy you get from it. It's the electricity you feel. It's the commonality and the excitement that everyone starts to feel because other people are commenting and relating and just are interested in what you're saying and listening and all of that. So all of the things that make it good and make you feel good about connection can happen sooner because you're getting people to connect sooner. So yeah, that was my feedback.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Yes, it is so important. And I want to share a little bit more about why. I also see I'm having some tech delay issues. So it happens. As I said, we're going to fail forward together. My apologies if I'm delayed here, but at least I can hear every word you said. And Julie, that was gold. I loved it, loved it, loved it. So I want to share just really briefly a couple of slides here with you. So there's no one perfect definition of connection. And in fact, I love everything that I was hearing already and reading in the chat. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Dr. Brené Brown, someone who really, really inspires my work. And she says that she defines connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, and when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they can derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. Oh, I love this one. I mean, again, there's no one definition. We all may experience connection in a very different way. I just wanted to maybe inspire you a little bit with this one. Okay, some of us love, like I'm seeing the loves here. Yes, and that's so connected with what you shared, with what so many of you shared, when we feel seen, heard, and valued. And why actually is this important? There's so many reasons besides that it feels good. Oh, I mean, the feeling I get when I really feel I'm connecting with someone on a deeper level versus when I stay surface level does so many different things for my own mental, emotional health. But just in terms of this, let's say, working environment, because today we're talking a lot about virtual teams. So I don't know if you know this, but there was actually a Harvard study on adult development done over 8 decades that found that people who are more socially connected to their friends, to their family, to their community, are happier, healthier, and live longer than people who identified as saying they were feeling less connected. And what implications does this have in the work? Ones. Connection is something we don't often in our professional spaces, but it really makes a difference, because more studies found that happy and healthy and connected employees tend to be loyal and productive. So connection leads to a lot of mental health and well-being, and eventually, of course, our productivity. And last but not least, they found that connected and engaged employees are 87% less likely to leave an organization. If you are a team leader, a manager, even if you're not, if you're someone who is just working within a team, the more that you cultivate connection, you're actually investing in a long-term relationship with your employees, with your colleagues, to make sure that there's not such high turnover rates every year. Connection really matters. As Brene Brown says, we as human beings are hardwired for connection. We need that and crave that, whether in our personal or professional setting. Oh, okay, Nicole, I see you have a comment. I will ask you to share it out loud. Go ahead.
I love this. This is a topic that I do for my work, and it costs, the last study shows, $400 billion a year for companies because of the turnover, because employees are not engaged. And so I'm like, that's a lot of money. And so we need to be proactive. Exit interview that's too late. And so
this is gold. Mic drop, Nicole. I'm done. Exactly. Thank you. Exactly. Companies, hello, these high turnover rates cost every single organization a ton of money. So isn't it money fostering and cultivating connection within the team to make sure people want to stay? That is such a great point. Thank you so much. Yes, attrition, absolutely. So I want to ask you, because we can say, yes, we know what connection is. Yes, it's important. But let's be honest. We have been living in crazy times, in the most probably disconnected times ever during this pandemic and during this massive shift to remote work with virtual teams. And so Anna Maria is going to share with us a little anonymous poll, which you'll find it's anonymous. Nobody will know it came from you. And I want to ask you, what are your struggles to cultivate connection in a remote team? What is it that you feel is really difficult, that you struggle with in a remote team? How, what holds you back from cultivating connection? And it's totally anonymous. Let's see what we find. Engagement from attendees, yes. Unifying a vision to work forward. Time. Where do we find time to connect, right? We have so many other things we need to do. Oh, these are gold. Getting people to talk and answer. It's not always seen as a priority. People are focusing on those outputs, lack of transparency, managing different priorities. Oh, these are gold. Look at these responses. What else? So many. And now with the challenge of hybrid team, absolutely. Today's session was actually not, we didn't focus on how do you stay connected within a hybrid team. This is a whole nother session we can do. But yes, that is so important as we're all in these different places and navigating these hybrid shifts and changes. How do we make sure we still feel connected as one whole unified team? We'll talk a little bit about some tricks you can still use for hybrid. People feeling distant and alone. The beauty of Butter, I don't know if you see, but if you connect or resonate with a comment, you can always click on that little heart next to it and kind of upvote it as well. So I see some things about people who are feeling, battling burnout. Oh my goodness. If you are battling burnout, can you give me, or you see organizations battling burnout, can you give me some kind of reaction? Give me a thumbs up or an I love this, if that resonates with you, something that your team is battling. What about, okay, a few of them, not so many. What about if you feel you need communication and engagement within your team, but you're feeling overwhelmed with too much things blowing up, like in Slack? Anyone resonate with that? You can give me a reaction. I love the last. Okay, great. What else? We have some great ones. People not wanting to contribute or participate. Interesting. Anyone who connects with someone who's like, or can connect with the feeling of nobody wants to do connecting activities, feel free to give me a reaction if you feel. I'm loving the sounds and the reactions. Thank you so much. We can end this poll here. Yes, you can keep adding or typing at the bottom of the poll. I will close this for now, but these are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful challenges because they're beautiful because they're honest and they're real, and we all are struggling with so many similar things. So before I'm going to share with you some of my favorite tips and tricks to cultivate connection within a team, it is not lost on me how much incredible collective knowledge and wisdom is in this Butter room right now. So what I want to ask you to do is we'll put you in a moment, Ana Maria will put you into breakout rooms, and you'll be in rooms of about maybe 3 people, maybe 4, depends, we'll see, we'll be flexible with time. I'd love for each person to share a challenge that you face. It could be the one that you wrote or another challenge that you face with cultivating connection in a remote team. And talk amongst yourselves about maybe some ideas you have to overcome it. What are some things that you all are doing that is already helping and supporting you? There's so much collective wisdom in this room that we all can learn from, not just from Romy. So please make sure you share all your fabulous ideas. So again, you'll go in breakout rooms, share a challenge, and you together work on different solutions. And make sure that each person gets a chance to share and you come up with different ideas of what you all are already doing that can help foster more connection. If it makes sense, can I get a big smile in the camera and some finger wiggles here to know that we are ready for the breakout rooms? Oh yes, spirit fingers, here we go. So Ana Maria, will you please beam us into the breakout rooms? Thank you so much. Enjoy your discussions on challenges and solutions.
Romy said I used to care a lot.
Maybe that's good. Wow. Maybe that means you focus on yourself. Oops.
I think we've been pulled back into plenary.
Yes, you have. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. If you are having some background noise, please can you mute yourself so that we can make sure everyone can hear? Oh, okay. Now it's quiet. Maybe I can share this cricket sound. I don't know. Okay, so there we go. I see some faces getting excited to explore Butter more.
I can tell that Nicole likes it. Right, Nicole?
Yes. This is a feature which only the facilitators have right now, but maybe will be nice. And in a moment, we'll give you all the sound. Otherwise, it will all be a little crazy, but we'll see. We'll let you play around with it in a moment. So I know, again, these are short breakout rooms, and I'm sure you could talk a lot longer, but would love to hear from a few people. What was something super, super insightful or just great for you to hear, maybe a solution your team and your group came up with for a challenge? Feel free to share, unmute yourself and share out loud, and we'll spotlight, or you can also, of course, always put in the chat something really insightful that you think can help the others. Maybe I set the tone with the crickets here. I know you all were coming up with amazing solutions. Don't keep it. Chantel, share with us smooth like butter.
You so can't be quiet on butter, can you? It's definitely speaking up. No, I raised my hand because I actually probably came at it from a different perspective, and I had the wonderful Katie join me. I've been working remotely since 2001, and there was like a gasp, like, okay, how did that happen? And she started asking me, well, actually, then think back to what has made you successful in working remotely. And then something I raised, she said, well, most people probably haven't thought about. And the very first company back in 2001, they were already an ICT company, internet communications technology company, and they had set up a workplace assessment already from home to make sure that from a health and safety point of view, everything was set up. And she was saying, we probably haven't even thought about the ergonomics of, how my desk is set up. And then we got into like how to engage the team, these virtual coffee meetings that I have, and the fact that some of my team members I've never physically met, but we're so close and connected. And so we were sharing these things that there's such, for me, a positive aspect of remote working. And I really ring-fence time in my diary not to be on total Zoom calls all the time, because I think, people pay me also for thinking and not just for doing. So it's a mindset shift. Is what I employ. So it was these kind of things that we were sharing that I was probably the one that was like, I don't know what I can say because I don't feel challenged remotely. For me, it's great.
Chantel, that's going to be my new motto. People pay me also for thinking, not just for doing. So let me just get a moment for myself. Yes, amazing. Not just on calls all the time. Thank you so much. I love the idea of this assessment, evaluation. These are great. Anyone else have something to share? Oh, I love everything also that's coming in the chat. If you want to share it loud, feel free. Mark shared here a suggestion to host smaller internal events, but with a purpose, learning experiment of some kind, rather than a beer and pizza thing that tends to have no structure. Oh, if I could hug this comment in the chat, yes. So often we think that, okay, connection is just if we do, because this is what we did in the in-person space. We would go to the pub, maybe have some drinks after work and talk. In the online space, if we keep doing this in a very informal way, it can be very difficult to cultivate real connection. And so it should be something more structured, I hate that word, should. It can be something more structured to encourage even more connection. Okay, I will keep it moving because we've been talking. I know you all had some fabulous solutions here that you shared with each other. I love the gratitude coming in on the chat. Can I give you a big love for the gratitude and helping each other? And now I would also love to share a few of my key tips. But again, this is not about, this is not the end all be all. If you have more tips, please share them in the chat. Don't hold back, because you all come in with your own life experience that I know we can all benefit from. So I tried to break up some of my ideas into 3 phases. I would say first, set the space for connection. And what do I mean when I talk about setting the space? There is both the metaphorical space for, let's say, cultivating connection and psychological safety. So things like, for example, it can be really easy to say, okay, we need a meeting, we have a team meeting, we need to talk about this, let's jump in. But I really encourage you not to rush in, because if you actually go slow and set the space and set the tone for connection, you actually can often enable for your team to go much farther. So if, you can always hop on a call and, with for a while and it's a quick thing, okay, that makes sense. But as we start working more and more with our teams, if we're just often focusing on tasks and not on the connection pieces, the outcomes that are presented are often not as rich, because people maybe don't feel as comfortable or being vulnerable or honest or brainstorming or sharing out of the box ideas, because, okay, we're just trying to get to the point here. And there's so much even more to unpack in there. I mean, I just think like taking a moment to arrive, right? Like, for me, those 3 deep breaths at the beginning helps me mentally arrive, helps me focus, but also like setting the space in terms of things like what we did, which was, rules of engagement or tools of engagement. I know not everyone here is a facilitator, but if you're ever facilitating workshops, so important to set the space and take the time to help people know how you can connect. If you don't teach people the technology from the beginning, especially with a new platform that's very cool, like Butter, you often maybe don't get that connection and people sharing because they just don't know how you want them to interact. So being really explicit up front can really make a difference. And the other piece here is thinking about the physical space, right? So maybe we've set the tone for the metaphorical space. We've told people some key, let's say, group agreements, right? Failing forward together, et cetera, et cetera. But how do you actually use the physical space? Because, okay, we're in Butter. Not every platform is the same, but even if we always use the same platform, the way that we use the technology, the way that we use instruments that we have available to us in the online space can really make a difference in terms of connection. And so I'll show you an example, and I'm going to ask you to do this activity. This is one of my favorite activities. It's called Backstage Pass, and introduced to me by the wonderful Jenny Sauer-Klein. And a reason why I love this is because if we were all together right now in a training room, let's say white walls, we wouldn't get this beautiful insight and Backstage Pass to get to know more about our colleagues. We often, I don't know if anyone else is familiar, but we often, share things where we say, okay, bring an item to the screen and share something, which I love, because you can get to learn a lot about your colleagues that way. But we can even take it further and get a little window in this time where many of us are craving and dying to travel. This is a real window into the lives of your colleagues that you can travel to. So what we're going to do now is test it out, and I'll show you a little experiment. In a moment, I'm going to ask you all to use your physical space around you to connect and share something that you personally really connect with, something that's very meaningful to you in your space. It could be an object that you bring to the screen, but I would encourage you also to take us on a little virtual trip. So as I said, I'm here. We're often very stagnant and standing still in the same position. So for example, I'm in a hotel room, which was a total fluke and unexpected, but I would love to show you what is behind me, because it actually is my favorite place in the world. I'm here in Galicia, Spain. I don't know if I should spotlight, or you need to spotlight me so everyone can see, but there's a beautiful beach right there that's calling my name for right after this session, because I am someone who grew up in New York City. I never, ever got to live by the beach, and Galicia, Spain is my favorite place in the world, and some place really, really meaningful to me, because I got to live by the beach here when I lived here. And I could talk for hours about Galicia, but I won't. But anyway, at least you get a little window into my world behind me. And that's what I'm going to ask you all to do in your breakout rooms. Again, keep in mind, it's called Backstage Pass because you are the VIP. You can decide how much access that person has. If you're on a desktop and you say, I can't move anywhere, no worries. You can bring an item to the screen. And if you're like, oh my gosh, my living room is a total mess and I don't want anyone to see, but I really want to show something outside my living room, you can always turn off your video and say, hey, they don't have that kind of VIP access. And when I arrive to my space, I turn on my video and share. So in a moment, we're going to give you a little chance, a little taste of Backstage Pass to use this physical space around us to connect with each other. You'll be in pairs. Each person will have around 2 minutes. Share a place or something that has a real meaningful connection for you with somebody else, and take your partner on a little field trip. So before we do that, are there any questions? If it is clear, I want to see thumbs up. And if there is a question, please speak now, because probably somebody else has it too. Okay, I see lots of thumbs up here. Great. So Anna Maria, give us our Backstage Pass for our VIPs. Send us in and enjoy your across the globe transportation. We'll see you back here soon.
No.
Okay, we're
Great.
Oh no,
everyone.
No.
Not enough time.
Yeah, it's not enough time. I agree.
This was getting so insightful.
This was putting pressure on us with less time.
Agree. Do you need another minute in your breakout room?
Yeah. Yes. Quick thumbs up.
Anna Maria, is it possible to put them in the same rooms or no?
I see. A lot of people are saying, "Oh no, I thought we had 2 more minutes."
Sadness. Can we try
just 2 more minutes?
It would reassign them into different rooms.
Okay.
Actually. Yes.
I know.
Exactly.
Well. Oh well.
Oh no.
So Katie here, Chantel and I were in the same group for the 2 last breakouts. We got each other. Twice.
So you really connected on a deeper level, huh?
We made it happen. We wanted to talk more, so we nudged Anna. I'm just kidding.
I love it, Katie. So for this next breakout that we have in a moment, hopefully that more people will connect and find their partners. I'm sorry that not everyone got a chance to share. Did everyone at least get a chance? One person at least shared, so you got the feeling of Backstage Pass. Okay, yes. Okay, you can send some love and gratitude to your partners in the chat, and find a way to connect or share information so you can take them on your Backstage Pass later. Okay, so I wanted to just move on to the next item. I know that we could stay here, but before I do, I actually want to ask you, how was that for you? I know it was short. I know you didn't get to go, and I know all the disappointments there, but how did it feel to get a little Backstage Pass? Please put in the chat, would love to hear, as well as if anyone wants to share out loud, we can take maybe a comment or 2. Okay, I see thumbs up. How was it for you to break out of the literal box here and get a Backstage Pass?
I thought it was great to share, and I think I will implement this with my team.
I love to hear it. What about it did you love that makes you want to implement it with your team?
I think it's something that we can share. I mean, you said one thing, right? So it's not like, you know what, you have to go take your camera, show the whole house, your home office with your teammates or with your friends. It's choosing the one really special thing. And that's also a great conversation starter in terms of, hey, why is this special to you? And then it's a great way to get to know one another.
Love it. Amazing. Thank you so much. Anyone else want to share?
I think there's something about authenticity
gold.
And bringing the person, right? So we don't split our life between work and personal, and inviting someone in, and if you do it in a team setting, it's bringing the person and allowing them to be their full self, and bit by bit they're sharing who they are, because you get a little insight into what really resonates with them, what makes them, Kate, we both showed each other our gardens. But Katie's, she was just her garden, and knowing a little bit more behind the person is beautiful.
Yes, exactly. And if we were all together right now in the same office, we wouldn't see that. I wouldn't learn about you and your passion for gardening or your favorite spot. Sorry there. But this is exactly why we do this. We need to break out of the box. We need to set the space. We need to use our surroundings to cultivate connection instead of hiding it. Oftentimes our go-to is to turn off our video because, oh, there's too many things going on. I say, bring those kids, bring those items, bring those family members. I think it's Jaya. If I'm mispronouncing your name, please let me know how to say it. Jaya has a question.
So Jackie had a thought as well.
No, that's right. You're pronouncing my name perfectly. And I just had a question. When people are not willing to work and break out of the box, what can we do to push them, initiate that kind of activity, and get them to participate? You know, what can we do as facilitators? How do you push people?
Oh, such a great question. And I will ask all of you, I know there are amazing facilitators in this room right now. So if you have ideas, please, please, please put them in the chat. For me personally, it's really important to practice one of my main principles, and I think it's a quite common principle as a facilitator, is challenge by choice. You have to give people options. We all have our own areas of comfort, of challenge, and panic. And if we just throw, and we say, you have to now show us a place, we don't know what's happening. So
Absolutely.
Give people options, as I did, like, hey, you can bring an item to the screen if you're not comfortable moving, or hey, if your video is off, like just at least use audio and tell us about a place that you love. Give people options, challenge by choice, so that everyone feels there's something for me here, instead of this is too much for me, I have to leave the meeting. We can't force them, we can only invite them.
True, I agree.
I hope that helps.
Yeah. Definitely. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for that.
Yeah, and I love Anna Maria here makes a great point. Start small and then scaffold, right? It's like layer by layer, like peeling back the onions. Make sure we don't dive in full on with a super vulnerable task, but we slowly had breakout rooms to chat and discuss, and then we keep moving from there. I see that there is a comment and a question. I'm going to ask you to put it in the chat because I want to make sure we get through these next couple points and have time for some more activities. So if you need, please, or not if you need to, we can stay on extra and chat about it. But otherwise, please share your comments in the chat. So I would love to go to the next this is another really common one about connection over content. We can amplify connection over content, which is not usually. We're usually about content. Now, as I'm doing, and let's make the people very small, we amplify content over connection. Or we say, hey, we don't have time for these stupid icebreakers, energies. We need to get down to the meat of the meeting. But the reality is, if we take that time to really focus on connection before content, the result of safety, as we know, was proven by Google as the #1 most important aspect of any team. In order to work together, there had to be this common denominator of psychological safety. And a key aspect of that is vulnerability, which is so connected with connection. Vulnerability, connection, psychological safety, there's so many ties there. And it's very easy to say, hey, we don't have time for silly things. In fact, a fellow friend and facilitator was just writing this morning saying, I spent a great amount of time on content and connection before content and did this great icebreaker. And the team said, ugh, enough, we've done the icebreakers. Okay, I totally get it. Forced connection for the sake of connection is not real connection before content. If we're talking about real meaningful connection, we want to make sure that it's connected to the topic. Nobody cares what your favorite ice cream flavor is, or your favorite color is. Is that really helping me connect on a deeper level with you? I can say, okay, great. I also love cookie dough, but what else is there, right? So if we instead, and I'll just stop sharing screen because I want to focus on the connection over the content. if we instead say, how do we create an icebreaker energizer that really connects people to each other, connects people to the topic, and as my wonderful friends Chad and Will from We and Me say, is an invitation for vulnerability, right? This challenge by choice. Nobody's forced to be vulnerable, but really you can connect on a deeper level. People start to open up throughout the meeting in different ways. Yes, somebody, Cow, I think is your name. You can tell if connection is forced or not 100%. If you're doing it for the sake of doing it, don't do it. It's not going to add, and it's going to take up time in your meeting. But if you're doing it because you really want to foster connection, you could say, okay, maybe I give people, hey, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to ask you, what did we already do in this session to embody connection before content? Any ideas? What did we already do in this session to focus on connection before content? You can share in the chat or out loud. Any ideas what we did? Besides obviously talking about connection. Breakout rooms. Yes, breakout rooms are gold. That's a great way for people to share more. Yes, great job, Mark. Inviting people to share in the chat. As a facilitator or leader or meeting host, please do not just give people content, stuffing it down their throats, hoping that they'll absorb it all. That's not how our brains learn. We need emotions. In order for brain-based learning, we need to cultivate an experiential learning. It all starts with the emotions. We need those breakout room discussions or sharing in the chat or doing different things. Oh, I see here. Yeah, lots of ways to connect before content. Even saying hello in different languages. I didn't even think of that as connection before content, but glad you thought of that. Yes, exactly. Coming close or far to the camera, right? We're already seeing we're not alone here. Who here is close up like me? Who's here far away? Creating different touch points to connect. It's something so small, but can make a really big difference. And the more you build it up in those layers, the more later we can feel comfortable. If we didn't do any of that at the beginning, and I just started talking to you all about, these are my 3 tips, blah, 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 blah. Then if I put you into breakout rooms, it might be like crickets. I don't know what to say. I don't feel comfortable. But we try to exactly do what you said before, kind of build up those layers for people to feel comfortable. Jacqui, feel free to share. You have a comment.
It was from before. Thank you. I put it in the chat. It was just a suggestion for people to bring to their screens.
Oh, thank you, Jackie. Appreciate it. Chantel, do you also have a comment, or is it from before?
I just wanted to add that we kind of actually go beyond the putting them to breakouts, because it really depends on the topic that you're dealing with. And we have some quite high topics in terms of DE&I, where people need to feel very safe for raising that. So we have these 8 rules of psychological safety that we really set up, and we share them in a very practical way. And then we let them experience psychological safety, which might be what you're talking about, but just driving them into breakouts is not the aim. They actually then become quite vulnerable one-on-one. They experience it, they understand it, and then just the openness for the whole session where they are able to state the incomplete and process things that are new in a way is that's what we do. So it depends on the topic, but there are some very heavy topics that can derail, and people need to feel safe, especially in DE&I, that we do that for.
That's such a great point. Please do not use the same icebreaker or connection before content for every topic. It doesn't work, right? That's sometimes I see too often, like, here are the 10 best icebreakers of all time. And I'm like, it doesn't matter to me. I want to know, what is the topic that you're going to discuss? How can we connect people to that topic? Whether it's DEI or something like project management, I may first ask people to put something in the chat. The other day, we did a session on psychological safety, and someone said, like, what was something you believe, something crazy you believed as a child? And I was like, this is a little weird. But as people started sharing, it was, wow, this was so fun. People started sharing, all the crazy things that they believe were true as children. And it kind of opened people up to feel more vulnerable, feel free to share even mistakes that they make now as an adult. And so it was really a great way to connect with failure, psychological safety, how they all move and go together. So yeah. Chantel, yes, agreed with Cheska. Please share any of those that you can in tips and tricks in the chat. We would love to learn more from you. Sounds like you're already doing great work. So last but, and the other thing I just want to add about connection before content is that the other thing it hurts me physically is when we do an icebreaker and they say, okay, we did connection before content, we're done. Now we can go and just lecture at you for 45 minutes. No, please don't do that. Connect also through the content, not just before the content, right? Find different ways to interact with your colleagues. Don't assume you as the meeting host who's giving the presentation has all the information. Each one of you already helped and supported each other in coming up with solutions for your own challenges. It is not lost on me how much life experience each person in this room has that we can all learn from. So please remember, I often use this, trick to ask first before you tell. Never tell without asking first. I didn't come here and say, here is the definition of connection. Here's why is it important. And here's how you do it. I want you all to share your own beautiful sprinkles because all of that is what makes us connect deeper with these topics. Yes, chats, reaction, thumbs up, gifts, all that were great for quick connection moments as well. So last but not least, we have, I know I am going to have to run through all these slides because I didn't upload a new one, but last but not least, we have embrace the power of emotions. So let me just share here. Yes, embrace emotions. This is our third and final key tip I can give you. Far too often, for far too long, let's say, before the pandemic, we were taught that emotions had no place in the workplace. That is professional. That's for your personal life, and you have to show up here as a professional. But the reality is that we are all emotional beings. You cannot separate the emotions out. And as facilitators, it's really important to think about emotions of your participants and your own emotions. So emotions of participants, as I said, each person is coming here today with different aspects, different things. Maybe you had a terrible day of work. I personally had the most hectic build up to this meeting that I was not planning. I'm just grateful I found a hotel at the last minute that had Wi-Fi to be here today. We all show up, but this is life. Life is unexpected. So please remember to give time to check in with your participants. Have them share a little bit about their emotions. It gives you a great way to take kind of the emotional temperature of the room that you can say, it's happened to me before. I say, okay, we are here to talk about strategy. And then, oh no, everyone here is feeling stressed, exhausted, burned out. Maybe this is not the right time to talk about strategy, but let's take a moment to talk about our team, what we can do to support each other's well-being more. Just taking the check-in, understanding emotions. We do this naturally, right? We often have meetings and we say, hey, how are you? I'm good. Okay, let's move on. But let's actually do it with intention. I was telling Anna Maria earlier, what is the difference in me saying to Anna Maria, hey, Anna Maria, how are you doing? And she'll say, okay, good. And if I really, instead of thinking from the head or from the voice, I really just for a moment think from the heart and say hey, Anna Maria, how are you doing right now? What a difference in a response that could have. So really feel free to ask questions and check in and create a space where emotions are welcome in the workplace. I'm loving these ideas coming in the chat. These are the goals that I live for. So, and last but not least, and we'll do an activity around this, is remember you as the facilitators, your emotions are contagious. If I want you to feel excited, energized, motivated about connection, I'm not going to show up to a meeting right now and talk like this in monotone and lose my energy and lose my emotion and be very monotone, right? That just completely kills the mood here. But if I want you to feel energized and excited about connection, I have to show up with my own energy, my own emotions, my own motivation, enthusiasm for this topic. Yes, it is contagious. Last but not least, I will close us out here and just say, please keep in mind the emotions of yourself and your participants. It really can shape your interactions. So to do this, I'm going to ask you to close the chat for a moment. Try and see as many people as you can in this space. Take a moment to really see the person. Each person here is a real human being with emotions. And I want you to try to find maybe one person. It can be someone that you know. It can be someone you've never met before, someone from a breakout room or not. And just hone in on that person for a moment. Really see them as just for them. Imagine it's just the two of you in this room. Nobody knows if they're looking at you or not. So really try to be present and find somebody here. It's totally anonymous. And just think for a moment. This is a wonderful little exercise from Search Inside Yourself Leadership Institute. And just remember that this person that is there in front of you is a fellow human being with all the range of emotions, just like you. Look at that person and think about how that person has feelings and emotions and thoughts just like me. You can maybe find somebody else if you want, or keep focusing in on that person. And remember that that person has experienced physical and emotional pain and suffering just like you. That person has longed for friendship and love just like me. This person is learning about life and failing forward just like me. And this person wishes to be connected and content just like me. Because this person is a fellow human being just like you and me. So I leave you with that thought. Please do not be afraid to show up and think about the emotions. Think about the humans behind the screen. We are not just these digital squares. We're real humans with emotions. And the more that we can embrace our full range of emotions, the more we can connect on a deeper human level. Think about all the difficulties many people are suffering through at this time. That's the elephant in the room. Call it out. Don't just hide it and hide it under the rug. Let's talk about it. The more you open it up, the space for a full range of emotions at work, I promise you, the more connected you'll feel and the better results and outcomes you will also see within your team. So without further ado, I just want to say thank you all so much. I will ask you, from what we discussed about today, what is connection? Why is it important? Setting the stage, connection before and through content, and embracing emotions. Please put in the chat, or actually I think it's going to be a poll, right, Anna Maria? Oh no, it's a chatterfall. Sorry. We're going to do a little activity. I want you to put in the chat, what is it that you are taking away with you today? Something really intentional that you want to put into practice to cultivate more connection within your team. Please put it in the chat. You can, I would love to hear different responses from as many different people so we can get inspired here. Oh, I'm so happy you're feeling inspired. Yeah, take a moment, put those in the chat. Take a moment to read through these beautiful responses. Oh, these are beautiful. Thank you so much. I love seeing these intentions. It is totally up to you if you keep them here in the chat or you make them come alive. You have the power to cultivate meaningful connection in the online space. If you want any more support in working with your team, cultivating more connections, psychological safety, experiential learning programs, you name it, please connect with me. You can find me on LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm regularly posting tips and tools there. If you check out Romy Alexandra, and also Training by Romy on Instagram. And this is my personal email. So if you have more questions or comments or want to share, I love and embrace these conversations around connection. Please reach out at romyalexandra.com. I just want to really, really thank you all. It warms my heart. I know that there's so many places you could be right now, but you chose to be here and connect in this space. And so it means the world. So I want to just close this out. Woo! Love the sound effects. I would close this out and ask you to please find something that you can, either your shirt or something else that you can kind of hold over you. I will go find one right now. You have 20 seconds to go find something you can hold over your head. Let's see. Okay. I have it here. So as maybe remember, when we were young, oops, I hope you can hear me. Yes. When we were young, we like the most sacred connecting place of all time was these little forts we were in. So please bring your little fort close to the camera. You can close out the chat and just find a little moment to just embrace this little fort moment together where we all connected here in this digital space. I thank you all so much for being part of my sacred connection space, and I hope to stay connected with you all very soon. Sending lots of love to you all and more connections in the future. Take care. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. You can come off mute and say goodbye.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Lots of love.
Love, love.
See you soon, guys.